Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, Kim Seltzer, a dating and makeover expert, where I will help you build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. Today, we are diving into a topic that so many people quietly struggle with. And I say quietly because a lot of times there's shame around it, but it's how trauma and intimacy blocks and shame around sexual energy can run the show in your dating life without you even realizing it sometimes. There was a woman I worked with. Well, and this shows up, by the way, with both men and women that I work with. But this example really highlights, I think, what we're going to talk about today. And it wasn't too long ago where I was working with her. She was highly successful, beautiful, eager to find love, like seemingly from the outside, like she has it all, everything except for this department, right? Love. But every time she would get close to someone, and she knew this about herself, she would suddenly pull away. And it would be like an energetic thing, physically and emotionally. And she avoided touch. She kept her walls up. Even her body language was shut off. And she would sabotage connections that actually had potential. Like the fear of getting close to people was so much that it was like a knee-jerk response. And she would do something that put a wedge between, her and the potential partner. So what was really happening? She was carrying old trauma and shame around intimacy. And obviously being a therapist, we kind of dug deep, and she had experienced some abuse in her past when she was younger, and she wasn't even aware of how it was showing up in her body. I mean, she had done all this work in therapy, and she's like, I'm ready to meet a man. And she thought she was totally like, quote unquote, fine. But then I took her to a bar, as I often do. And as we were, talking to men, I physically saw her back up as she was talking to men. And I said, do you realize every time a man kind of comes a little bit closer to you, you keep backing up? And she's like, I do. She had no awareness of that. And obviously this was showing up in flirting or the lack thereof because she was scared. She was dressing to hide her body. And she just learned to protect herself by shutting down and hiding in every sense of the way. And so here's the thing, this happens all the time. These hidden blocks can look really different in different people. I mean, it can sabotage good connections because vulnerability feels unsafe. You can be like an overgiver or people pleaser to avoid rejection. You might be over sexual, right? Or using physical intimacy as a way of like getting close to people without the emotional piece. Or it can be the opposite, where you're hiding your sexuality because there's shame around it. Emotionally, you could look shut down when someone gets too close and pushing people away. And guess what? Then you're attracting emotionally unavailable people because you yourself are not emotionally open. Or you're choosing unavailable partners over and over again because it just feels familiar, good, bad, or indifferent. So if you've noticed yourself repeating these patterns, you're not alone. And it's not until you work on them, they'll silently dictate who you choose, how you show up, and ultimately the results you will get in love. And that's why I'm so excited for today's guest, who is going to help me unpack how these invisible blocks show up when you're dating. And most importantly, how to release them so that you can finally feel safe, embodied, and free to create the love and intimacy that you probably secretly want and deserve, but you just don't know how. So she is a trailblazer in personal transformation, intimacy empowerment, and somatic healing. And I just love her already. Like, we have this instant connection. So I think you will too. With nearly 2 decades of experience, she's helped countless people reclaim their power, heal from trauma, and embrace authentic intimacy. She's a certified somatic experiencing practitioner. I am fascinated by that. I can't wait to hear more about that. Intimacy coach, transformational speaker, yoga instructor, and the best-selling author of How to Be Aligned and SEX boss, sex boss. I love that. Her written work reflects her mission to help others break free from limiting beliefs, embrace their wholeness, and live with greater joy and authenticity. Welcome, Veronica Clark. How are you?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for that incredible introduction.
Well, that's you, my dear.
I know. I thank you. And oh my gosh, I'm so moved by everything that you said prior to that. All the
Mm,
invisible blocks and the ways that people don't realize what is getting in the way of what they want. And how so many times people are so afraid of actually looking behind the doors to really see what's in there. And they don't realize that. Like, okay, yes, it may be scary to look at initially, but if you don't do it, babe, you're not going to be able to get what you want. You're not going to be able to experience the love, the depth, the connection that you truly deserve. I feel like that is what you and I have in common is that we do such a wonderful job of helping people to do that. So I'm excited to dive into this. Let's give some tools to be able to crack some of these codes so they
yes. Oh
get the
my
love
God.
they want.
I love it. And you even speak the same language. It's like we kind of talk similar. So yeah, because I don't know your whole backstory. And that's why I was kind of saving it for the podcast. Like I'd love for you to share how you got into all this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to dive into it. It's interesting. I would have never thought that I would be a sex and intimacy coach. I really wouldn't
You didn't
because
wake up one day and say, I want to do this. Sex ed.
no, actually, it was like the antithesis.
Oh.
I had a lot of sexual trauma growing up,
Mm,
and so for my experience, I really wanted to be the good girl. And just, wanted to get married, wanted to be, had this idea of like, this is the wholesome life. This is the life that I should have. This is the way you show up sexually. This is how I show up with myself. This is how I teach my kids to, about sex. This is how, and I really put myself in a box, which I think at the time was so wise because that's what I needed.
mm,
And then and then there was a breakdown, which ultimately led to breaking free from some of those, those stories and those ideas that I did that, like I said, I needed to keep me safe for the time being.
mm,
And so what happened for me was ultimately I had a breakdown which invited me to start looking at the things that I had never resolved and how they were showing up in my relationship, like my current relationship, how the beliefs that I, you know, had established, the things I believed about myself, the things I believed about my husband at the time, um, or anybody else for that matter, I had to start evaluating that.
mm,
Now, that took a long time to do over, a course of some years, but as I started looking at how do I want to be loved? Like who am I? Who am I? How do I want to be loved? How do I want to show up in my life? How do I want to feel in my life? These were the questions that I started asking. Now for me, I actually I went into a sexual tr abuse like center that
hmm.
focused on yoga and meditation, like mindfulness and
Oh,
meditation.
wow.
Interesting. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I didn't understand the mindfulness meditation component of it. I was attracted and drawn to it because I'm like, okay, well, something's happening to me. I'm breaking down. I don't know, this isn't making sense because I've been through way worse stuff than whatever is happening to me right now. But I do know that I have sexual trauma. So this must be a place that might be able to give me some answers. So I went there and found my way into mindfulness meditation. That actually was the very beginning point of leading me to where I was because I started to learn how to drop into myself, how to become more centered and more present, which is something I'd never learned. I was the people pleaser. I
Mm,
was the one that was shape shifting so that I could fit whatever people needed to be so that I didn't get left, I didn't get hurt, I didn't get abandoned. I was the one that was chosen, I was picked, all of those things, and I never knew what I wanted or what I needed. So that was so eventually mindfulness meditation led me to yoga teacher training. And through yoga teacher training, because it changed me so much, I was sharing that with other people, became a coach, became actually a nutrition and health coach. And then doing that, then I realized, okay, well, in order for me to talk about people's health and their nutrition, and I got certified and did a lot of other stuff, I started realizing that we're talking about everything else. We're talking about their sex, we're talking about their sleep, we're talking about all these other things.
Mm,
And so from health coach, I became a life coach. From life coaching, I had to get super honest. And I was like, what's the problem? What's the problem? People are super, super disconnected from their hearts. They have
mm,
so much trauma around shame, sexual shame, self-acceptance, around self-pleasure, around being able to claim what it is that they want. They don't believe that they can actually have what they want. And so that's when I said, you know what? This is I think this is my calling. And I was like, God, are you serious? I'm the one that's going to be talking about sex and intimacy. He was like, yeah, this is what you're doing. So that's really a
wow.
short, a short rendition of like what took a good from 2009, I'd say like really hardcore, serious, deep diving to 2015
Mm.
before I finally really stepped into saying, I'm a sex and intimacy coach.
I love that. Oh gosh, thank you for sharing that journey. And I'm sure there's a lot of people just like relating to what you were saying because so many people have been through stuff, and how it shows up and how it can stop and us from relationships, from whatever it is. You know what you said that to highlight something that hit me because I work with so many people who are people pleasers and, always like looking outside of themselves, right? In order to get them to like them or like being a fixer, being a provider, being a protector, like whatever it is, both in men and women, by the way. I see it in both.
Oh, yeah.
And and what I love about like the yoga and the meditation, your journey is that it almost like forced you to pull in, right?
Yeah.
Like it forced you to like feel what you feel rather than what other people feel. And when you're so used to like being a caretaker, it's so foreign to do that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like how then, and if you don't mind sharing, because I think this is obviously we're talking about dating, like how did like the trauma and then feeling what you're feeling then affect your dating life?
Oh my gosh. I mean, in the beginning, I did all of the things like, I was, dated unavailable men
Ah,
and, really needed them to choose me, which was totally playing out my wound. And I didn't get it. And those were the guys, the ones that were unavailable were the ones that I wanted the most, right? That I like
yes.
couldn't get off of my mind. And it was like, why? It's because this part of me was like, if I can get you to want me, then I'm better. I can be healed. Like there was some part unconsciously that was like, you're the one that's holding my value, which it took
Wow.
me, it was painful. It was painful at the time to finally acknowledge that, right? But when we get really, really honest with ourselves, that's the thing. Somehow we place value outside. I placed my value outside of me. I was because of my sexual trauma, I didn't understand my own inherent worth. I didn't understand my own value. So I didn't know that I had value unless somebody chose me and said, you are valuable. You matter. And that meant for me in my romantic relationships that the man needed to choose me and then I was enough. And then I was good enough. Then I was beautiful. Then I could shine. But if he didn't, then I wasn't good enough. I was broken. I was whatever the story was. That was so effing painful.
Wow.
And 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 here's the thing. It's not that they were bad guys. It's not like they were
Mhm.
bad guys. These were actually, really great guys in their own way. They didn't necessarily like mistreat me other than that there was a thing that I needed from them, the validation that I couldn't get. Now, how did I get out of that? Is I had to recognize it. I had to get really honest. I had to recognize it. And I had to start to heal the addiction to feeling like crap. Like feeling like someone out there is the one that has my value in captivity. Um, I I I took time. I practiced what I call intermittent celibacy.
Oh.
So so that I could really work on myself. And then I would go out again and I would date and I would see how did I feel when I was in the presence of this person. And, you know, if I felt like there's you can always feel inside yourself. You know if you're doing the thing that you're doing, if you're trying to do the fake thing, if you're trying to pretend, if you're trying to, it goes beyond flirting. There's a way in which you can flirt, but there's a game that you're playing. There's a back and forth. You're passing the ball back. You're flirting, and there's this adventure. There's this energy. But then when you are pretending like you're flirting, but you're really trying to people please, or you're really
Mm.
trying to like see me, make me, you have to know when you're doing that, and you have to interrupt it as soon as you notice that you're doing it. And I watched myself I observed myself in those interactions. And every single time I started to do that, I just let myself lean back and pull back in and stop and be quiet. Or I might excuse myself for a moment. I just have to breathe. I have to really give myself space instead of continuing to do the thing that I was like, catch it, notice it, stop,
Mm.
and bring my power back.
I
Can you
love
feel
that.
that as I'm like describing that?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And those of you who want to see her kind of do it, you can watch this on YouTube as well. And yeah, I mean, even just you doing that little kind of pause, that's so powerful. And I think also, like, when people are filled with trauma, they fill in the space a lot of times, because it's hard to be in silence. It's hard to be with themselves. And so that's where either the people pleasing comes in
Mhm.
or there's distraction. And, I love how you framed something earlier. You said almost like being addicted to being like wanted or seen as pretty or attractive, like there, I wonder if you could speak to that in ways of also like how that shows up with sexual attraction. Because I work with a lot of people who misconstrue that attention with,
Mhm.
oh, well, then I have physical sexual chemistry with that person. And it's a little bit different in the way that you're describing it.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, it's a really, I used to think that like, oh, I only want a man if I feel like this really, really like turned on and
Yes.
just, oh my God, like
Yeah.
I want him. And I would like go after that. Like that's all I wanted, right?
Hmm.
So whoever just drew that, I'm like, oh. But now so then I started to realize, okay, then I started to realize that I started to ask myself the question, is this my trauma? Is this my past? Is this my, and I don't even like necessarily saying like, is this my trauma? Is this my old programming? My old programming that says, whatever, like, oh, he's going to help me to play this game. Like we pick up on subtle cues without necessarily realizing what we pick up on. And
Yeah.
so I just had to ask myself, I had to feel into it and really feel, is this my old programming or is there really something interesting that could transpire between us? Am I trying to get a fix from him? Am I tracking him? Am I watching everywhere he goes, hoping that he sees me? Am I doing something to try to be in his pathway so that he sees me? Am I trying to speak louder so I make sure that he hears my voice and I'm trying to draw him in? Like what are the strategies that I'm doing? And again, that can be really uncomfortable for somebody because this really does take a high level of awareness. And I didn't get here overnight. I'm giving you some of the fast renditions to hopefully like help people to expedite the process so you don't have to go through all this stuff. But it doesn't feel good looking at yourself and knowing that you play those kind of games. You may not ever want to say out loud to somebody, yeah, like I'm tracking everywhere he goes and I just want to be in his eyesight. Like I can't wait to be there because I'm like, oh my God, need you. But you have to pay attention to those things so you can stop. So here's how I shifted things. When I was attracted to a man, I I just would like I would tell him. I tell him like, or I will let him come to me because he'll feel something and then I may say, well, let's just feel what's here. Let's just feel what's here. Let's just sit for a minute. Let's just be here in each other's presence and feel. And if we feel like, okay, there is definitely something, and it feels like it's been mutually expressed, like, yeah, there's something, this is interesting. As things progress, I definitely don't jump into the bed with somebody like right away. I'm like, because that's the easy thing. But what can be more interesting than that? Like,
Yeah,
that's easy. That's done.
right.
Okay. What else? So I don't have sex right away. I'm like, let's feel each other. Let's put our bodies together. Let's breathe together. Let's hold hands. Let's touch. How does this feel? And then I have a conversation with them. There's a particular conversation. I have an RBDSM conversation. You might have heard of it. There's a lot of like sex positive communities that talk about this, but the RBDSM is really about relationship. Like, are you looking for a relationship? Are you in a relationship with somebody else right now? If you are, is it okay to be having a conversation with me? You know? But we have a conversation to see like where's our level of interest here? What's the desire for this connection? How much do we want to try to spend some more time together to get to know each other a little bit more? Like this is even before we go on a date per se. This is just to be able to like get on the same page. So you learn a lot from somebody in this. You learn a lot about yourself. And if so, yeah, I can share more about that, but it's really is really about paying attention to yourself,
Hmm.
seeing how you feel, not rushing, not getting washed away or swept away in your excitement. And I still get excited when I meet somebody. I still will like, oh my God, like, oh my God, this feels so good. And I'll share with my girlfriends. And also, I don't I don't have to tell him how excited I am. I don't have to act from this. I know how to, you learn how to contain, run your energy in yourself and then show up and just pause when you're in his energy so that your old programs and your old habits don't come in and hijack the opportunity to really connect with somebody and to allow them to perhaps reach a different level of intimacy in your presence because you are more grounded and more embodied.
I love all this so much. And you know what's really cool about what you're talking about, and I'm sure you'll get this because you see this as well and probably felt this, is that a lot of people who grew up in homes where they weren't allowed to express their feelings and themselves, they learn how to be kind of the caretaker too, right? Because they're more focused also on other people. And guess what sex does? It makes you feel right. And so when you haven't learned to build the emotional intimacy first or in those beginning stages, you misconstrue the feeling of the sexual charge as a feeling. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I must be in love, or we have really good chemistry, and you lose sight of the feeling beyond that. And so what I love what you're saying, by sitting with yourself and really feeling what you feel,
Mhm.
you can learn how to pace that so that you're not leading with that, and then it's a more balanced way of getting to know somebody in an intimate level as well. So it's just so powerful. So what is the somatic
Yeah.
experience? Is that part of it that you teach?
Yeah, part of that is. So part of my healing journey, my reclamation journey, was learning how to have the capacity to feel my own feelings.
Oh.
I in the beginning, so this counseling center that I went to for the sexual trauma, And the mindfulness also did EMDR. So I was
Uh-huh.
able to, so I worked with some EMDR, but then I was like, I also need to know how to feel. And I need, and there's like stuff gets stuck inside the body. So I did some research and I found Peter Levine's work, which is around SE and so powerful. And I just wanted to learn more for myself. And so I enrolled and so it was a 4 year, really deep, nuanced program around helping to heal trauma from the bottom up versus, just from
Mm.
the top down and kind of, it's important to still talk about things, but also when we're talking about, okay, well, where do you feel that inside your body? How do you feel that? Let's stay with the feeling for a second and just see what happens.
So it's like getting away from intellectualizing it and
Exactly.
doing it more in the body.
In
That's
the body.
awesome. Yeah.
And the more that you can speak to the body, then the more, well, we understand ourselves in relationship and with lovers, especially like romantic intimacy, right? We can be able to express how we're feeling right now, which is really important so that we don't lead to more re-traumatization, right? Like
Right.
traumatizing yourself more, getting back into something that doesn't really feel good because we've overrode our feeling.
Hmm.
So so it's so important. Everybody doesn't have to go through SE, but it is so important to pay attention to how you feel. So my experience with that allowed me to have more self-mastery, and I include that in all of my work. In my language, obviously, it's just a part of who I am because it just makes so much sense, to me, and has also been so healing and has led to me having the best sexual experiences of my life because I am not leaving my body during the sexual experience.
Ah.
I'm staying in here. I'm not going up here. I'm present. A lot of times when people bring their trauma, when people have trauma, and by the way, everybody has some degree of trauma, not just
Yeah.
necessarily sexual trauma, but we all have something. We have stories, we have pressures, we have so much stuff. And when we leave ourselves during the sexual experience, we can feel unfulfilled, we can feel disappointed, we can feel unloved, we can feel disconnected, we can continue, we can feel like still ravenous because something isn't getting met, and so we can keep chasing this thing like I need more and more and more sex to feel better because that just wasn't enough. It didn't quite scratch that itch. And that's really because we're intellectualizing the experience. We're not actually feeling the feeling
Mhm.
of it deep in our bodies.
That's really, really cool. That's so powerful. Well, I was wondering, what about like the opposite? You know how we were talking about there's some people where they hide their sexuality. They're scared to put themselves out there and flirt and be sensual and sexual. So, what would you say to those people and how they can kind of get rid of some of that shame like that you were talking about?
Well, I have a sexuality training for women that I take people through. It's called Body Temple. It's a sensuality training. So I want to say that because this particular training focuses specifically on this.
Ah,
Now,
okay.
okay, and I'm mentioning this because there is something very powerful about healing in community,
Mm-hmm.
especially for women. The judgment from other women, the stories from other women, the comparison with other women can oftentimes exasperate and compound some of the shame or judgment that we may have about our own experiences, about our own bodies, and any of those kinds of things. So even if you couldn't come to my training, it is so important to first start to try to find a way to love your body. Work with a therapist, work with, a somatic experiencing coach, work with somebody, go to different classes, dance classes. There's so many different kind of offerings now that are like help to be more body centered, more body loving. Start there. Start focusing on loving your body and learning how to accept your body
Mm-hmm.
for yourself. This is important. Because if you don't accept yourself, no matter what size, no matter what shape, no matter how your titties look, no matter how many,
Mm-hmm.
stretch marks, whatever, all of it is still a part of beautiful life experience, and it's going to be important for you to start learning how to accept that first so that you can release some of that shame and judgment. Um, and then I would say, you know, uh, start to envision how you want to carry yourself. What is the vision of the woman that you have yourself, your ideal dream self? What is that version of you that you want? And I'm not just talking about the physical looks,
Hmm.
because the physical is one thing, but it really starts on the inside. If you can start to feel, what is this woman? How does this woman walk? How does she feel about herself? How does she treat herself? How does she walk around when she's in her room? How does she, put her lotion on? Like what do you want for your own life experience so you can feel you in this lifetime as yourself? What do you want? So you have to start to imagine and know what you want. Visualize that and then start to embody it and practice it now. Do not wait until you have a partner or you have a lover. You don't want to do that. Do that now. Do
Yeah.
that if you do have a partner. You don't have to tell them what you're doing. You do it for you. Start feeling sexy for you. Go buy yourself some beautiful pajamas or beautiful lingerie, beautiful panties and bras for yourself. Walk around in your space and everywhere you go, feeling like the elevated woman that you deeply desire to be. You have to call her in and envision it now. It doesn't matter if you don't have any evidence for her. It doesn't matter that you don't have all the things that you want in place. You don't have all the money. You don't have the job. You don't have the partner. You don't have all those things. Do it for you right now. Make space for her. You have to practice. This is the thing
Yes.
I'm trying to get at is that you have to practice. Embodiment isn't just going to happen overnight. You have to practice it.
Amen, sister. You're speaking my language. You have no idea. Because I always say dating is a skill.
Mhm.
And flirting is a skill.
Yeah.
You have to practice it. And if it's been shut down or you've never done it before, the only way that you're going to learn how to do it is practice. It's just like a job, right? Like you can doing it over and over and over again until you become more confident. So I love that you're treating intimacy and embodiment in the same way. Like it so resonates with what I believe to be true too. It was funny because I just did a makeover with a woman literally just a couple days ago, and this is a woman who just never felt like a woman. Like she was a tomboy and had a lot of body shame. She just lost a lot of weight. And we just, we went into she was so cute. She allowed me to go into the dressing room with her and we were like trying on like sparkly things. And,
Love
and, and
that.
it was so cute because she kept saying, okay, I'm feeling sexy. Like, but it was this like quiet, like excitement. And I said, well, sing it loud, sing it proud. Like say, I'm a sexy woman. And by the end, she was like dancing in the store. Like it was just like to your point, like this isn't about the man, it's about you. And when you feel it, that's when other people do too. And so it's a beautiful thing that you're helping people with. What would you say to like somebody who, because you know how like in your story you kind of hit this rock bottom place where like something like just kind of like snapped and you started doing something. But what if someone hasn't had an event happen or that like aha moment and they feel so stuck and they know they want this for themselves but they're still scared? Any like tips around that?
Yeah, use the stuckness as a
Mm.
catalyst. You have to ask yourself, like, is this how I want to keep living? Is this how I want to keep feeling about myself? Like, do you want to just allow life to keep passing you by? Or do you want to have a different experience in it? Right? And if the answer is I want to have a different experience, okay, what kind of experience? And you just start there. Okay, well, I want this. Okay, great. Start little. It doesn't have to be these massive, massive, makeovers, right? Just a little one at a time so that you can start building capacity and belief in the process. Along the way, you start building confidence in yourself. Confidence is built by taking action, right? And learning how to trust yourself. Like, I can do this. So start with the stuckness. I feel stuck. Acknowledge, I feel stuck. Be honest with yourself too, and just say, okay, I've allowed myself to be stuck because I didn't know what else to do. I need to reach out to somebody. I need some help, right? They can reach out to you, Kimmy. They could reach out to me. They could reach out to anybody and just like get started there. And you can say, I'm scared shitless. And you can say, and you know what? I believe I'm a lost cause, but it's not true. You're not.
Mm.
Nobody is. I want you to hear me. I want you to hear it. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what you've gone through, doesn't matter what's happened. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can start from wherever you are. And you reach out and you can express your fears and then you get focused after you get all the yucky stuff out. Say, this is what I want. That's the most important thing. Focus on what you want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And the other thing is, don't be so attached to outcomes. Okay. You hopefully, what we all want is a better life, right? So for dating, we want to find a partner who's going to help to accentuate our life and make it even better, not to complete it, but to make it even better. So we feel even we get to experience even more joy with somebody else in our life. Amazing. And have great sex. Amazing. How wonderful. And we can still pursue all the other good things. So start to pay attention. What do you want? And don't be attached to like how it's going to happen. Just start the process. Trust yourself, follow through with yourself. Celebrate yourself when you are, making some strides forward, even if it means you go out on a date and you're a little clumsy and you say something that is silly or whatever. Okay, you're learning, you're practicing. Give yourself some grace. You pick yourself back up and you go back out there again. Everything is not going to be perfect. Every single date that you go on, every single person that you meet, they're not all going to necessarily like you, want to marry you. That's okay. It doesn't mean that you are a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're unattractive. It doesn't mean any of those things. It means that that person is just helping to direct you back home to yourself. Again, great. It's also, maybe you're not the one. Thank you. I get to have this experience of practicing, of learning more about myself. And if it just so happens that it's a match, right on.
Love it. I know some of my listeners, because we don't know each other very well, but hopefully we will. Like they're probably saying, "Did Kimmy tell you to say all that?" Because you literally I know. I love it. So you listening, we had no conversation before this. It just
Fun.
highlights and shows how like different people have ways of helping you in different ways, but how you get there, it's so similar in our messages. It's staying present. It's the small stuff that adds up to the bigger win. It's like everything that you're saying. So I could literally go on and on with you, but I was just looking at the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do we get here? Um, do you have any like kind of parting words of wisdom that you want to share? And also like let everybody know how they can find you. This has been amazing.
Thank you. I've so enjoyed this too. And we're totally going to get to know each other more and
I
spend
know.
some time together. Oh, how can we not? Like, see, the universe put us together for this purpose. We get to make even more magic. These are my parting words. My parting words is this: have fun. Have
Yep.
fun. Enjoy your life. Because the more that you enjoy your life, the more you are going to attract even more people into your life who who are wonderful and are going to bring more joy. Have Enjoy this process of becoming whoever you are becoming. Enjoy the process. Don't give yourself such a hard time. Don't make this an arduous task, okay? Life is hard enough as it is. Enjoy and say, I get to get up every single day. I get to try new things. I get to try new ways of being. I get to learn how to love myself even when it's really hard. And I'm going to tell you something, ladies, really, everyone who's listening to me. I was so I was so insecure that a beautiful woman could show up on a commercial on the television, and I did not want my husband to see her.
Oh wow.
I mean, I was so
Yeah.
insecure, I did not feel good about myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was so low on the totem pole. I just want you to know that. And so, like, it just little by little. And then you're like, wow, okay, it can happen. Trust the process, trust yourself, learn how to fall in love with yourself. Your greatest task in life right now is to fall in love with you. That's it. Everything else is going to start to fall into place. The doors will start to open. It really will. Things will start to make more sense. Your first assignment is fall in love with you.
Awesome. Awesome. Where can everyone find you?
My website, veronicalynclark.com. Okay, Lynn. I'm sure you'll put it down in the comments. There's no
Yes.
E in Clark. And then also Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, Veronica L. Clark. Those are going to be the best places. I do have books. I am a resident teacher at Savannah Wellness Resort and Spa.
Oh,
And it is such a magical place. And that is probably one of the easiest ways and affordable luxury ways to work with me is to come here to Savannah. I teach a lot of relationship classes, workshops, and they're life-changing, absolutely life-changing. So come learn more about me on my website, follow me on Instagram. All my information is there, where to get in contact with me, where to buy my books, all the things, one-on-one coaching, everything.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, Veronica, this was so awesome. Thank you for sharing. And most of all, your story. Like, I mean, it was really inspirational. And, even if once you see her, whether it's on her site or on YouTube, to think that you have the same insecurities and vulnerabilities as everybody else, because again, we're all human, like you said, and we all have it. It's just how we see ourselves and fall in love with ourselves. So thank you.
Yes. Yay. So
And thank you for joining us today. You listening. This has been the Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, of course, Kimmy Seltzer. And remember, you can build confidence and make connections and find love from the outside in. And here's the thing. You don't have to do this alone, as we've been talking about. If you're listening and realizing you've been repeating the same cycle, shutting down when you want to open up, or choosing partners who just aren't available, this is your invitation to do something different. As Veronica said, I mean, check out her site. She has so many amazing programs and, sometimes the first step is just simply having a safe space to explore what has been holding you back. Obviously, I help with this all the time. I always have a free call for you. Hop on a free call so that I can see what blocks you might be having that you can't even see to help you get unstuck and attract the kind of love you deserve. Just click the link you see in the show notes. And I hope to talk to you personally. And remember, working on you is working on your dating life. That's all for now.